Hello there, I'm Willy, or Baseman on the Rebel Legion forums, and today I'm with Andrew, or for his friends, Andy Hurt. He's a person who worked on TV series. On 85, he was in the movie Labyrinth with David Bowie and Jennifer Connelly, if I'm not mistaken. On 87, he did Willow with Val Kilmer and with Warwick Davis. 2009 was Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows, if I'm okay on that. But the main reason why we have him here today is because in 1983, he was on the Star Wars film Return of the Jedi. So, hi Andy, it's nice to meet you, nice to see you again, and welcome here on the interview for the Rebelton.
Hi Willie, nice to see you again too. And nice to see everybody. Well, I can't see you, but
No.
It'll be great, yes.
Yeah, it'll be great. You see, there are a lot of interviews we're going to do. So we start with this one anyway. I've got a few questions prepared for you, and you just, whatever comes up after the question, you just throw it out on it. Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
So, first of all, I think that's one of the most asked questions is, what brought you to the work on the Star Wars saga? I mean, how did you get into it?
Yeah, it was in a way by luck, because I'd come home from my regular job where I was living with my parents at the time, and my mother said, "Oh, there's an article in a local newspaper asking for little people to appear in a new Star Wars film." And she'd read it all, and she asked if I'd be interested. I said, well, I sort of more or less took a hand off, sort of said, "Oh yeah, lovely, brilliant, fantastic." So there was a phone number I could call. So I called the number and explained who I was, and that I was short and everything. And they asked, how tall I was and how old I was and things like that. And I said, and they said, "Oh, are you free tomorrow?" And I said, "Yes, fine." And she said, "Can you come over and we can have a look at you?" And actually, where I lived in England then, I was half an hour's drive from the studios. So I went to the studios, they saw me and they said, "Oh, fantastic. Can you go upstairs for a costume fitting?" So I didn't even have to audition.
That's great. That's lucky, as you said. That's a lucky number you called her then.
Yes, yeah, it was really good. Yeah.
Did you know the Star Wars saga before you worked on it? I mean, the first release was in Europe in '77, if I'm correct on that. So.
Yes, I did know about them. I mean, I know the Star Wars fans won't like this, but I wasn't a Star Wars fan myself or anything, and but the chance of acting on the film was fantastic. I mean, when you get offered something like that, you wouldn't turn it down, and well, most people wouldn't turn it down. And of course, and then I got to meet all the other little guys as well. So yeah, we had a great time. It was one of the best times of my life.
That's it. We can always cut that little part where you say you're not a Star Wars fan, so that's okay.
Oh, okay, all right.
Okay. In the beginning, when you started with the film in '83, and when you were done with the recording, did you imagine that it was going to be a success like this, or how big it is at the moment?
Not really, but but I mean, it wasn't the first film, so the other films were quite successful, or were very successful, and I suppose everyone more or less knew that this would be successful as well. But I think with when it first came out, it was successful, but it's even more successful now. I think it's I don't know.
Yes, it definitely is. I mean, it became more successful through the years. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think any of us expected it to be as big as it is now, of course. And I mean, it's massive, and there's no other movies that have reached these heights, I don't think.
No, I think they really set a different era for the movies. Right?
Yeah. It was brilliant, fantastic. Yeah. And of course, now I get invited all over the world for conventions, which is lovely. So
It's
Fantastic, yeah.
that's always a plus. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and having these interviews with interesting people
Yeah,
like me.
yes, that's right.
Anyway, now, next question. If now that I remember it, everybody will probably will like to know this, but how did the schedule of a recording day look like for you back then?
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like you go on stage or you go on the set and they start recording. That's it. I mean,
no. We used to start like quite early in the mornings, around about, I don't know, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. We'd go in for costume and stuff, but most of the time we were sitting around in costumes waiting to go on, being called on set. And sometimes you'd be in costume all day long and makeup, and especially the Ewok suits, because they were really uncomfortable, and we had to be like ready to go on as soon as they needed us. So we're walking around in half Ewok costumes, you know, like with all the fur around us and everything, and we're walking around eating and drinking and whatever. And
I hope it was the bottom part.
Andy, you're wanted on set, we have to go straight off on set.
Yeah. Now you're talking about the Ewok, and well, probably everybody knows, but for those people who don't know, what was the other character you played in the movie?
I played Hera the Jawa. I was in Jabba's palace. I was his personal Jawa to keep him cool. I was fanning him. Yeah.
It's a nice job.
Yeah, it was all right, actually. Yes.
Talking about funny things, do you remember any funny moments on set while recording or after or before recording that you can share with us, of course?
Yeah, in Jabba's palace, because there were actually 4 Jawas actually in Jabba's palace, and but we got moved around a lot, so it looked like there was a lot more Jawas than there were. You know, there was only 4 actors, and there was one scene where Mark Hamill is in the pit below, and he's getting the pit in front of Jawa. I've forgotten the name of it. Something, the Gregorian pit or something. There was a big like creature in there, and Mark Hamill trying to escape. He's holding on to the bars in front of Jabba, and we had to run across with these rifles and hit Mark Hamill's hands. So he fell into the monster.
Fell back into the
Yeah, and but the problem was with the Jawa costumes, we couldn't see anything. When they put the lights on the eyes, you see nothing. You don't see in front, you don't see to the side, you see nothing at all. And we had to run across bars that were like, I don't know, 20 centimeters wide or something, 10 centimeters wide, and blindfolded more or less. But we kept falling in, we kept slipping because we couldn't see. And we did about 20 takes of that because we made so many mistakes. And in the end, they actually cut the scene. But if you go on YouTube, the deleted scene is on there, so in black and white.
You can find them. Was there also any awkward moments? I mean, you get the funny moments, but any awkward moments?
Awkward. I'm trying to think now. Awkward. I can't think of any awkward. One time we played a joke on one of the other guys. We dressed a mannequin in a Jawa costume, and my friend, who I was working with, Brian Wheeler, he was also a Jawa in Jabba's palace, and we dressed him up in put his costume on a mannequin, and we went outside and we said to one of the assistant directors, we said, "Oh, Brian's not feeling very well," and he's standing up on the table, and he's really, really sick, and the assistant director said, "Oh, we can't have that." He was panicking a bit because he was worried he wouldn't come on set, and he came into the dressing room and went up to the mannequin and said, "Brian, are you okay?" And he held him by the shoulders like this. Yep. And his head fell off. And
Decapitated the Jawa.
he was really shocked by it. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's equally awkward and funny moment, as a matter of
Yeah,
fact.
yeah. I don't think we really had any awkward moments
No.
at all. I don't remember any awkward moments.
No, it really looks as if it was really a good time working on the movie.
Oh yeah, we had a
lot of
great
fun.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was good fun. Yes. Yeah.
It's one of the best atmosphere ever. What if you could think of one? What is your favorite character of the movie, of one of them, or the whole saga?
Oh,
Tough one.
yeah, that is a tough one.
Because if you look behind me, you can see which is mine. But
Yes. I would say Luke Skywalker, because working with Mark was such a pleasure, and it was great fun. He didn't act like a star or anything. He was one of us. You know, we had to get dressed in. We had our own dressing room, the Ewoks, and there was a whole group of us in this big dressing room. And but Mark Hamill, he would never be in his own dressing room. He'd always be in our dressing room, and he was so funny. He was a good laugh, a really nice person, lovely person, and great sense of humor. Yeah, fantastic. But I mean, the other actors were fine too. I mean, Harrison Ford was more serious. He took it. He was more a serious actor. And Carrie Fisher, she was good fun as well, but not as fun as Mark. Mark was our mate, you know.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. Yeah.
So that leads me automatically to another question, which you almost replied to me. But how is it working with big names like Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford? Is it difficult with them, or
sorry?
Is it difficult to work with them, or is it?
No, not at all. Not at all. No, they were fine. We had, I mean, like I say, Harrison. You didn't see much of Harrison. He was mostly on. You only saw him on set or walking about sometimes, but most of the time he was in his dressing room. Carrie Fisher, she used to hang about a lot with Mark, and she used to muck around as well. But yeah, but Mark was a mischief maker. He was yeah.
It could have been a Jawa.
Yeah, easily. Yes, yeah. He was just funny, and yeah, we never even thought of Mark as a big star. You know, he was just one of us. You know, it was great. Yeah, and Carrie was nice too. Carrie was nice.
It's great when you can work in such an atmosphere. I mean, with big names, but still being, like, say, normal people, right?
That's right. I think with Mark, I don't think he'd seen so many little people before, and he was just, I don't know, he was overwhelmed, you know, and he just, because I mean, most of us little people, we're a bit mischief makers and get ourselves into trouble and stuff like that. And I think he just wanted to be part of the gang.
Part of the gang, yeah. Well, he actually was.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Someone told me you've been working also on the Battlefront video game.
Battlefront video game?
Yeah. As you did also the Jawa part, if I'm not mistaken.
Not me. I don't think so.
No. Well, then we better cut this off the interview. Well, someone told me that while Andy worked on a video. Well, he played the character, the Jawa character, which afterwards we used in a video game called Battlefront.
Oh. No, not me. Okay. Who did that? Do you know?
No, I have to look that up because.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. Well, okay.
No,
we skip that.
No.
We just cut that in the interview then. Okay, then. Which I think I'm positive now, because you're making me doubt, is that you worked, and if I'm not mistaken, still work on a musical every year.
Yes, I've done a few musicals. Well, it's always been the same music. Always Snow White. Yes.
Snow White. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, at least I got this one back. Good. That's
Yeah.
since '85, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Or more or
yes,
less. Yeah.
yes, yes. Yeah, I've worked on stage quite a lot of times. Well,
Mhm.
many times actually. Over here in England, we have a tradition called pantomime,
Yeah.
and it's every Christmas,
Mhm.
and they have like musical comedy shows, and it's on stage, and they have Snow White, Sleeping Beauty,
Okay.
Cinderella, all these fairy tales. And most of the time, we do the little guys, and myself, we do Snow White quite a
Mhm.
lot.
Okay.
And I've also done it in a classic musical, also in touring Europe, and also, and it's a little bit funny, but it's not as funny as pantomime in England.
Mhm.
It's more of the classic story,
Okay. Well,
Also a
I'm not gonna
musical.
I'm not gonna ask you to sing, so don't
No,
worry about
no,
that. That's
no, you don't
that.
want to do that.
Okay, that.
That's not a good idea.
So, now, if I talk with somebody that worked on a film, I was ask myself the same question: what does your family think about that? I mean, what does your family think about that? The husband or father or uncle is, in this case, is part of the Star Wars universe.
Um, yeah, they think it's fantastic. I mean, yes. All my family are really pleased for me, and they tell everybody that, oh, my uncle or my cousin, they say, oh, he's appeared in Harry Potter and Star Wars and things like this, and I suppose it's nice for them because they're really interested as well, and I get a lot of fan mail. I get like people in the street sometimes stop me,
Mhm.
but over here in Belgium, they mostly know me from the musicals, and I've
Okay.
done Belgium television over here too.
Mhm.
So they mostly recognise me from that because with Star Wars, I'm in costume all the time and always wearing a
Yeah.
mask. But when I'm doing musicals and television, it's
Mhm.
usually just myself, sort of with no
So,
mask. So they
okay.
recognise me
They
from that
recognize you
moment.
in the streets.
But a lot of people Google me and they see all. Is that right? You've done Star Wars and all this stuff, and I say yes, yes, yes,
That brings me
yeah.
to a question. Now you said that people Google you. Where can people find you online so that they know where you're doing signings or where you go to convention or something? Is there any way where they can inform
Oh,
themselves?
probably on Facebook, I suppose.
Mhm.
Uh, and I think there's a website for conventions.
Okay.
But I'm not sure what it's called.
Okay.
Usually there's a convention. You can go on this website that. Oh, but I don't know what it's called. But it tells you where all the conventions are
Okay.
and
Yeah.
who's
Mhm.
in them and where they're going to be and things like that. Or
Okay.
maybe if you type my name in on Google, you can
Mhm.
find out that way also,
Yeah.
possibly. But,
Yep.
yeah.
Probably. Okay.
But
Well, if
you
it's
do
okay with
under Andy Hurd. Yeah.
okay, if it's okay for you, we can maybe we can run here your Facebook on on the
Oh
interview
yeah.
if it's
Yeah,
yeah.
no problem. No
Yeah.
problem.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Now I'm getting to the last question because otherwise it's getting too well. We can start talking and talking about for hours, and that's not the idea. So we're making a shorter interview. And my
Yes.
last question is it's an awkward one, but to you, uh, who would be the perfect buddy for a quarantine?
Pardon? What?
Who would be the perfect buddy to be in a
Buddy.
quarantine? Yeah, a buddy or a friend or a mate or a company to have in quarantine. Character of Star Wars, of course. I mean, I know
Oh
you want
yeah,
to be
yeah.
with Chris, but
Oh, probably Mark.
oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that,
Yeah, Mark Hamill, I think, or Luke Skywalker, because
yeah,
the time would go very fast because it'd be very funny and we'd
yeah,
have a good
probably, yeah.
laugh.
As I
Yeah,
can hear
yeah.
all the anecdotes you tell, well, okay, then
Yeah.
Andy, well, thank you very much for the interview. It was a pleasure talking to you again. It's been too long since we talked last time and since we saw. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you very much for your time. Anything else you'd like to add for all the Rebel Legion members worldwide?
Just stay safe and just be careful, and hopefully this will all end soon and we can get back to the conventions, I hope, because I miss the conventions very much, and I miss meeting all the fans, and yeah, it's just a very strange situation to be in. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Well, you better know that we also miss you on conventions, and we also hope that this ends very soon. We can go back to normal, let's say, do our troops and go to hospitals and so on, which is one of our main activities. So once again, Andy, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for this interview. Take care and stay safe.
Thank you, and same to you. Bye-bye. Bye.